Welcome to the More Than Just Dumbbells podcast. I'm still Jason Lindsay.
And I'm still Kitty Truex.
Truex, do you have, if I ask you or somebody asks you,
please do.
What is your favorite movie of all time? Do you have an answer?
Oh, son of a bee sting. No, I don't think I have an answer.
You can't, could you,
Gosh.
Could you throw out a couple or no? I mean, there's not even one that comes to the top that may or may not be there. If you had to think about it, it might move down. Nothing?
I mean, around Christmas time, it's the whole Harry Potter series, but just because it really activates my inner child, as we were just talking about. I really like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that or read that?
No.
That was a good one. Goodness. I really love the Princess Bride. Labyrinth.
Okay.
Yeah, now that you got me going. Labyrinth with Gareth, the Goblin King.
Is that with Bowie?
David Bowie. Yeah.
That's a musical type of thing.
It's a little musical-y, yeah. Dance, magic, dance.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll never watch that.
With the Muppets. Jim Henson.
The only one that you've named that I've seen is The Princess Bride.
Love it.
Yeah, a lot of people like that movie.
Yeah. It's a cult-ish movie.
Yeah.
Really like Hocus Pocus. I really like Practical Magic.
My God, I've seen none of those.
Okay, well, The Craft was good.
So like,
The Craft was my
I've
freaking
seen that either.
upbringing.
So like, okay, like Shawshank Redemption.
Love it.
Okay, you've seen that.
Yep, seen
The
it.
Godfather, you've seen.
Meh.
No?
I mean, I've
No?
seen it, but it's not anything that I would pull up on. No. How about yourself?
I mean, I don't know that. I mean, maybe Shawshank, but I mean, I have.
I dig
that's why I'm most
Shawshank is one of those movies that I could catch it in the middle of any moment, and I'd watch the end.
That movie came out in 1994.
Dig it.
And I was in college, and this movie theater still exists. Cinemark Movies 8, located in the River Hills. Remember you had to call? Remember you had to call? Yeah.
Yes.
And my sister and I
Nice,
would go.
pullback.
She was either going to college in Mankato at the time with me, or just came over for. They had dollar movies. This was one of the first
remember
times
those
I
too.
ever
In
was experienced this.
Brooklyn Center.
What they do is if a movie came out, it was about a week or two after it was
Released?
They'd put it for $1.
Sweet.
Talk about making money off concessions.
Well,
That was
yeah,
their-
for sure.
That's what they wanted. So I saw
movie
Shawshank
theaters.
Redemption for $1, not knowing what I was getting into.
Nice.
But I would say Magnolia is probably up there. If you've
Okay,
seen that. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can dig that.
Just curious, people's
Of course.
favorite movies. But yeah, now we have a lot of insight into the stuff you like. Which, by the way, not ripping it. I just haven't seen that stuff. It's
not your cup
But
of tea.
that makes sense for what you do
Yeah.
outside of this podcast,
Doesn't it?
Which is yeah.
Witching.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
which are you today? What's the? By the way,
Talk to me.
tell you what. How come? I'm doing this right on air. How come we haven't done a tarot cards benefit or bullshit?
If you want to.
Do you want to?
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to.
All right, let's do it.
I love divination.
I'll be nice.
I'll do your tarot cards.
Yeah.
I'll pull you some tarot.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
We're doing that. Dan, you heard it here first.
Are
you ready for that,
I've got
Dan?
it on record.
All right. On it.
But that is not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today? Something completely opposite of that.
Completely different,
Yeah.
by the way. Should I lose weight before I begin to start intentionally building muscle? Jason.
People ask that
This
question.
is
a
the
lot.
question.
It's a question people ask a lot, whether you're male, female, or
Absolutely.
or whatever.
Yeah. Which is why I wanted to ask you, sir. What are your opinions on it, just to start out?
Ask it again slowly.
Sure. Should I lose weight before I intentionally start to put on muscle?
How heavy are you? I mean, not you, but like,
Did you just pirate me right there? How heavy are
I
you?
didn't. What? I like the movie Dodgeball. It's another one.
Okay, yeah. You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
Yeah.
ball.
Rip
Okay.
Torn.
Yes, absolutely. So what I'm thinking is if I'm a normal, an average weight, let's just say 140 pounds,
Okay.
I want to gain 10 to 15 pounds of muscle.
Okay.
Do you think that I should work on bringing my weight down to maybe 130, 125 first before beginning to build or bulk?
No.
Just take an average Joe or Jane.
No, I would say no. If you're, boy, if you don't have a lot of fat loss that you want to lose,
Sure.
then no, you can probably do both at the same time.
So, and that was also something I was
Yeah.
going to ask. Is it easy to do simultaneously, or do you think it has more benefit?
None of the three is easy.
When
one or the other.
Touche,
or
baby,
yeah.
touche.
But is it possible, or even actually relatively? Let me say it this way: if you don't have a lot of body fat to lose,
Okay.
and you want to gain muscle and lose body fat,
Yes,
and you're a male,
yes.
then I think you can especially a young male, you can quite easily lose body fat and gain muscle.
Okay, simultaneously.
Yeah, I think if you're female, you can also do it as well. I just think it might be more challenging.
Do you feel, here's a question for you. Do you feel that fat is easier to lose than muscle is to gain? Is it easier to lose fat than it is to gain muscle?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Your body's going to want to shed fat. It's going to be more open to shedding fat than it is to gaining muscle for many people.
Okay.
But not everybody.
Really?
But for many people, yeah.
Okay.
Remember we did the mesomorph, endomorph,
yes,
ectomorph.
I absolutely do.
That factors in.
If you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to that.
That factors
was a very
into this a
cool
little bit
episode.
as far as,
I learned a lot.
But the exception to the rule is the exception is that guy, usually a guy, but it could be a gal, usually that guy that says I gain muscle easy. That's the exception. The rule is
awesome.
it's hard to it's hard to do.
For sure.
So I guess if I'm answering your question, another way of saying it is there's no reason you can't do both at the same time. The caveat there, or the challenge would be, is if you have a lot of weight to lose.
Okay.
And then I would
talk to me about that.
Well, then I would worry about fat loss, but more than muscle gain.
Right.
If somebody's ideal body weight is 130 pounds,
sure.
Let's go female,
okay.
130, and she weighs 190, and she wants to gain muscle and lose fat, honey, you need to lose 60 pounds. How about you lose body fat?
With cardio and with
weightlifting too, but don't worry about measuring your muscle mass gain.
Don't worry about gaining muscle yet.
Yeah, no.
Well, and then also when you lose fat first, or when you put your intention into losing fat first, it helps with the knees and the joints. It helps to make the exercising and the lifting even more enjoyable.
My point on that is this: if you have 60 pounds to lose, you're gonna have to go catabolic. You're gonna have to reduce your calories.
Yep.
Increase your energy.
Yep.
And that's not conducive to gaining muscle.
Correct.
So at least not fat. I would just worry about losing that body fat. You're still lifting weights and
caloric deficit.
Yeah.
Higher energy.
Where people make the mistake, and they do it often with the assistance, unfortunately, of the Weight Watchers. I've ripped on these companies before, where they say, "Oh, you need 60 pounds to lose." Well, you're not doing a dang act. You're just you're gonna eat our food, or you're gonna eat what we tell you to eat. You. And you're not going to exercise. Are you effing kidding me?
Well,
you're not going to have them do a push-up?
Well, that's just eating lean muscle as well.
It's
I feel
stupid.
like.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Okay, all right. So. And that's also something that, the pro of working on your muscles while you're working on losing the weight. Yeah. One of the main pros is that you're not going to reduce your lean muscle mass. Because if you're working out and not refueling with protein or not doing any heavy lifting to keep those muscle fibers firing, you're losing muscle mass that's going to take even more effing long to get back when you start to try to bulk.
If you're lifting weights while you're reducing calories,
yes,
as long as you're not reducing calories by more than you should,
okay,
which is going to be roughly 250 to 500 calories a day,
sure,
then you're probably going to be fine maintaining muscle if you're on a strength training program.
Okay,
you're probably not going to lose. You're going to lose some. Again, with that 60 pounds. We've talked about this before.
It's inevitable.
Every pound of fat that you gain, you have to gain. I think it's 1 pound of. No, it's every 3 pounds of fat, you gain 1 pound of muscle to support that.
Wow.
So that person that's 60 pounds overweight actually has about 15 extra pounds of muscle that they don't actually need once they get to their goal weight.
Okay.
So you're going to lose muscle anyway. That's where it gets kind of confusing.
Well,
so don't worry about just
worry about the way you look and the way you feel rather than the numbers and the measurements.
Well, 100%, sure. Kitty, but it's as long as you're on a proper strength training program.
Yes.
Then you're doing pretty good when it comes to whether you're trying to lose weight or
what would you say is a proper program?
That's a good one.
I was going to say 20 to 30 minutes 2 to 3 times a week.
Well, sure. That's basic. I'm a big proponent of the full body workout 3 days a week.
Yep.
But you've got to be consistent with that.
Yes.
Versus the body part a day.
The isolation stuff, more compound instead.
You don't need to follow a bodybuilder workout again unless you want to be a bodybuilder. But I think if you have 60
if you got 60
muscle,
pounds, absolutely. Hey, but to each their own, and goals are goals. The one thing I wanted to talk about doing simultaneously. So I actually did my macros. I went to ifitfitsyourmacros.com and I did my macro calculator.
What are macros for people?
Macros, fats, proteins, carbs, and water. The main macronutrients that we need to live.
You throw water in there. I dig it.
I do throw water at the top 4, right? Because you can't live without water.
Throw water on it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't throw the baby.
She works hard for the money. Anyway, so when I'm looking at macros, I put in all of my stats, and my basal metabolic rate, or what it takes to keep me normal,
BMR.
my BMR is 1317.
What does that mean?
1,317 calories a day is what I need to maintain where I'm at right now. Yep.
So if you eat 1,317 calories,
I will maintain.
Whether you exercise or not? No, that's considering your activity level.
Correct.
Now. Yeah.
My activity level is that I burn like 1,800 calories, which is, that doesn't really make sense to me. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because in my macros of wanting to gain 10 pounds of muscle, they've got me eating over 2,000 calories, which is three times more than what I thought I was supposed to be eating.
Yeah.
700 calories more than I am right now, which is a lot of flapping food. If I wanted to continuously lose weight and build the muscle, so I'm at a caloric deficit, could I just take like 200 to 250 off of that 700 and still maintain that? Does that make sense?
I'm sure you
Instead
could.
of eating the 2,000, could I eat 1,750 or 1,800 and still lose fat while also gaining muscle?
Well, okay. If you're going to, I'm going to give the short answer.
Sure.
My prediction is yes.
Okay. Well, yay. Then I'll do that.
And there's people listening that might disagree, but I mean, you're not talking about a whole lot. Here's my fear with what you're on.
Okay.
Is that,
do you want some?
well, you're going to gain,
What am I?
you're going to gain weight overall. You're going to gain fat too.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you just are, I think so. And then I think but that's okay. If you want to gain you have a goal weight.
Yes.
And once you get there,
It's not even about the goal weight.
well,
It's about the toning.
I know,
It's about
but you're going to want to probably base it on a number to some degree,
Sure.
because once you get to that number, then you can check your body mass or your
Metabolic rate.
your composition.
Got it. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you do that if you have a scale.
Yeah,
or,
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently, hold on. I'll tell you. I'm currently 24% fat and 92 pounds of muscle on my body composition calculator.
So, what is the
Scanner.
reason you want to gain muscle?
Honestly, because I want to feel more strong. I want to feel more stable. I want to feel more foundationally sound. That's what I want to do.
So, how many calories are you? If you weren't trying to gain muscle,
yeah,
how many or lose fat? How many calories are you supposed to eat per day?
1,300.
Yeah, I would.
Which is not.
I would.
Not
I would go for 300 to 400 a day more.
Okay. So 17. That's where I was sitting anyway.
And lift heavy shit.
Got it.
And
17 lift heavy shit.
Happens.
I'll let you know in about 2 months.
That's what I would do.
Dig
If I
it.
were you.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
If you were me, that's what you would do.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, I'm taking his advice, everybody. Let's do this.
Pick up heavy shit, put it over your head, put it back down, repeat. Yeah.
And eat 1,700 calories a day.
There you go. Yes.
But no, the proteins, 125 grams of protein a day, 71 grams of fat a day,
probably more than you
freaking
need.
236 grams of carbs a day. That, I mean, for our society being low carbolicious, keto, fantastic.
That's like a couple of boxes of mac and cheese.
There
or
you go.
something.
It's true. It's a couple of boxes. Wow. When's the last time
I don't
had mac
know.
and cheese?
I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, that's.
But either way, I thought I wanted to bring that up because it's a lot more than what I thought it was when you start to really nail down what the nutrition is in order to build muscle or lose fat.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up the macros as well.
Yeah. No, it's important for. I mean, it is what it is.
Does building muscle give you more fat burn?
Yeah. I would assume. Yeah.
And it lifts your metabolism.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the more muscle mass you have, the leaner you look, and the faster the faster your metabolism.
That makes sense.
The more you burn calories at rest.
Well, to kind of wrap this all up, right? Should I lose weight before I start putting on muscle? The answer kind of conclusively on both ends was yes. Yes from you. Especially if you're 50 to 60 pounds overweight or whatever that looks like, to start losing weight before you put on muscle. But you can also do them simultaneously.
I'm largely coming at it from the perspective of the opinion, I should say, that weight loss, being a healthy weight, is more important than having a lot of muscle mass in terms of longevity and quality of life.
I like that answer.
So that's.
I can dig that answer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Easier
Longevity,
said than
and you know what? Longevity, wellness and health are different.
Yeah.
Whereas wellness is like health over an amount of time, whereas health is just kind of that in the moment. So you're thinking about, in order to have this longevity, in order to be a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, and still be active when you're 70, 80, start thinking about the fat loss, because then the muscle gain is just going to come with the more energy that you have and the more physical activity you're able to do after losing the weight. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. I think
in a nutshell?
I would. I wouldn't disagree with that. I just, I want people to understand. I think everybody should be lifting weights on a regular basis and heavy
shit.
Right, I do. But I just wonder if you're 60 pounds overweight, as the example that you used, and maybe I'm thinking of somebody who's always been that overweight, and that's unfair. But that's what I'm thinking of right now. This person exists. These people exist.
Sure.
Then I'm more worried about you learning how to eat for life than I am about you learning how to eat for a program for a period of time. That's, I'm about to start after I get back from Belize a 10-week transformation, and this isn't a diet I'm going on. And we've talked about this on other podcasts.
Sure.
I'm just going to alter my back to, it's not hopefully a lot. I don't think it will be, but I'm changing some things. That's how I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
I'm not going, all right, I'm eating rice cakes and tuna.
That's not sustainable at all.
And I'm probably smart enough or been around enough to where I could probably do it for 10 weeks.
Sure.
And adjust, but I don't want to do that.
Right.
I just want to, maybe it takes me longer, but whatever. Did you get my point on that? It's I'm 60 pounds heavier than I'd like to be, but I'd like to gain muscle. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but why don't you get your eating down and lose your, the body fat?
And figure out for the longevity.
But again, just so we're clear,
for a lifestyle.
Don't go to a Weight Watchers program or a Jenny Craig or the like.
Oh.
Don't do it unless you 100% need that support. There's other ways to get that support, I think. I can't. I don't have any off the top of my head, but there's got to be ways.
Okay.
But if you do that, you walk in there and you tell them, I'm going to the gym to lift frickin' weights, whether you want me to or not, and see if they'll take you. And they'll take you.
They'll take you.
Well, I'm just saying, tell them you're going to do that. Okay. That's just nuts not to do that.
And that's advocacy for your own health.
And by the way, I dare anybody to come on. We'll get you on the podcast. I'll listen to you because I won't. Podcast@powerblock.com. If you want to come on, explain to me. You can be from one of those organizations, or better yet, be a nutritionist, dietitian, doctor, and explain to you and I and the listeners on why that approach could make sense. You're
off. The door is open.
Do you agree with me? That's insane to do a
program. I would never recommend that myself.
Yeah.
Because physical activity, lifting heavy things.
And even if they're not lifting heavy, let's
they're doing something for their physical movement and energetic embodiment.
You don't want them to touch a dumbbell or a cart or a treadmill for a period of time. I think it's at least a couple, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks.
But to think about it psychologically, do they do that to make it seem as easy as possible for this person?
Of course.
So then they
marketing.
Fall and that's what I'm saying. It's not something that they actually believe in per se.
Well,
they're using it as a psychological trigger to buy my food because it's easy.
You'll believe anything if you drink the Kool-Aid. And just ask Jim Jones and company.
Touché.
It's not,
Touche.
So,
Well, thanks for your input and your opinion.
But you know what Kool-Aid I do drink?
What?
The Power Block Kool-Aid. Where do I find it?
Powerblock.com.
Actually, you can't probably get Kool-Aid there. We should probably sell it, though.
Why don't we have Power Block Kool-Aid?
I know. Drink the Power Block Kool-Aid. It's a marketing idea waiting to happen.
I'm on it.
Dan.
27th on his list.
There it is.
Powerblock.com. What can you get there, though?
Adjustable kettlebells, adjustable dumbbells. You can get apparel now. Check it out. We're rocking our Power Block apparel. Boom, boom, right? Doing the deal. You can also get, mats. There's podcast episodes. You can see
Matt?
all the podcasts.
You sell a guy named Matt on there?
Right. Matt. Yeah. Matt. The big one or the small one that goes on your floor so you can lay on it and do your workout.
M-A-T-T Matt. Or is it M-A-T?
It's M-A-T.
Yeah.
Yes. You can get Matt.
Got it.
I
have one.
Good for you.
It's wonderful.
I don't have one yet. I have to get one.
Yeah.
You can get blog posts, recipes from Joyce of Cooking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, by the way, we got to get her on. She's a podcast waiting to happen. She was going to do...
Fantastic.
Well, we could get her on a podcast, but she's also going to do some sort of cooking show for us. I got to get on her for that.
I would love to watch that.
Yeah.
So check it out, powerblock.com. Thanks for supporting and sharing and being a part of this squad, everybody. We really appreciate your feedback. Feel free to review us on Apple iTunes or on Spotify or anywhere that you get your podcasts. We really enjoy your feedback. It's priceless to us.
Apple Podcasts review would go a long way. Well, and don't be surprised if we don't pick a random reviewer and give them something special.
Don't be surprised. So. That's true. That is absolutely true. So if you do review, you could be up for some random radness. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.